A skiff with a small steering engine in the back floats on the calm mirror of the sea. Its two seats are empty. The boat's belly is a shiny yellow color, industrial paint over fresh tar. You see it reflect off the water, along with the factory number, A72. SRV made. This machine represents humanitarian aid from a workers' state on the Samoan Isola. The ROO logo on the engine gives it away. That and a white five-pointed star. Once you get in, that's it. One pull of the starter handle, and you're off into the bay. A strange trepidation comes over you. Are you sure you want to go now? Have you made all the necessary preparations? Closed all your accounts? Remember what the net picker said. It's a small tank. You won't be going back and forth on this.
It will float. What? Fine, why not?
Very cool. Now tune it to SAD FM. You know you want to. SAD FM is a radio station specializing in sad, slow rock songs. You seem to know its frequency by heart.
Want to be free. Want to be free. It will last forever. Eternally. Want to be free. Want to be free. It will last forever. Want to be free. Want to be free. It will last and the trees are green and overhanging, where the light free and everlasting. And the trees are green and overhanging, where the light free and everlasting. Want to be free.
boat comes to a slow stop. The lieutenant turns the engine off. Then there's silence. In the silence, a sputter of wings. A flock of quails takes off in the distance.
Let's go.
The chain trails off into the ocean, connecting the island to the supply depot on the coast.
Ah, yes, so it seems. For bringing munitions to the island, maybe? And supplies? You could also lock the bay when you raise the chain.
As a defensive measure, lock it off that side of the bay.
From enemies. Enemies of the commune of Revachol. This sea fort was a revolutionary fortification, I believe.
The dry grass crackles under your feet as you stop. Far away, birds' wings touch the still surface of the sea. The flock of quail departs, now more than 100 meters away, 102, 105. On the islet, there is almost no wind, just snow quietly falling on the reeds, bulrushes swaying on the waterline, long dried leaves chafing against each other, like a silent orchestra tuning at the beginning of some major work. Of great importance to the few who attend. A silent hiss, sea air moving through the needles of a pine tree. The faraway roar of the city, distant like today's dream. Before it, the sound of sand, the low tide filtered through its grains, a bird tending to its feathers. Snow falls on the water, melting away without even a whisper. A low hum. The air slowly moves through a concrete box, through its ancient slits and cracks, resonating, hollow, a big building. Air flows out of a pillbox window. There is very little there. The air cossets flowers on a meadow. Absolute silence. Reeds motionless. Bulrushes motionless. A flake of snow falls on an extinguished campfire. Hiss. A jitter. A sound impatient to happen, but not yet in this world.
Yes? It is. Is that why we are stopping?
ICM? This feels familiar somehow.
No, an upside-down star.
With its horns in the sky, the symbol of the commune.
Insulindian Citizens Militia. It's the official name of the Communals Army, the black and white army of the revolution.
Sounds an awful lot like.
It does. The RCM may descend from the ICM. It's impossible to say. It was chaos after the war. The name was good for getting people to join us. Revachol West was mostly workers and criminals.
Nice political thoughts rush through your neocortex. It's going to be hard to say them. Carrying around all that weight on a busted crutch is making you pant.
No one remembers the ICM. The connotation is less important each year. No, that's the uninhabited archipelago.
A DeLorean-era symbol of Insulinda, known as the face in the sea.
After 44 years? That's not nearly enough to hide what happened here, Lieutenant Gefreiter. One of these barrels was still leaking fuel, as you saw. The city is full of things like this. Old bullets, guns, fuel.
Books and magazines lie scattered on the floor and on a makeshift cupboard. They are not particularly well organized. Most are soft covers, serialized fantastique and detective stories from the 20s and 30s. This disparate digest includes the classic Animal Adventures, popular depictions of man versus nature by amateur naturalists T&T Harpin, husband and wife, widely read by people from all walks of life. Who doesn't like nature? Who doesn't want to survive? Among what is mostly commercial fiction and serialized stories, you find a magazine cathodique for electrical engineering. Then it's back to pulp. Light erotica, an international thriller about circuit benders.
Someone's made themselves a home.
Soft covers, serialized fantastique and detective stories, animal adventures, a magazine for electric. Oh yes, under the bed, there is a rather extensive collection of critical theory, that is, dour, life non-affirming left-wing literature, published by small imprints such as Abattoir Firm and Elysium. It's not exactly light reading.
Sia. Humanitarian sciences. Stands out. Not a lot of critical theory around in Ravachol West anymore.
Your incendiary remark has failed to provoke him. Wasn't there some in the communist students' room?
Well, yes. That one student did.
The little books seem inconsequential next to the big pile of frivolous entertainment covering them.
Whoever has lived here, they have some education and a certain set of interests.
Interesting. An old cylindrical generator is nested above the ammo lift, with makeshift electrical wiring running out of its side and across the floor. The cables disappear into the wall to your right. The lieutenant puts his hand on the metal barrel, checking for warmth.
It's cold now, but someone has been maintaining it. The wiring has been repaired.
A hollow ring, the canister is empty. Dust falls from the generator and down into the ammo lift.
Downstairs, somewhere? Liquid carbon. I would imagine it takes mazout. The kind that's favored by vagrants and fuel thieves. It's been a long winter, long and cold.
If anyone stayed here, they'd need a generator.
I don't know. I'm not a philosopher.
That is his idea of a joke.
Someone with basic electrical skills has restored it in order to keep the room warm. Maybe it's the fire guy.
The wind outside picks up suddenly, with a faint howl. Inside, it's warm. There's a greasy old spring mattress in the corner, resting on piles of soft cover books. White linen and a pillow are visible under a worn-out caracol blanket.
Someone has been squatting here. The linen is fresh, recently washed.
A flash of pain interrupts you, making you wince instead of letting the words out.
You know, officer, You can rest here if you are feeling tired. I will keep watch. You could use some rest for what's ahead. Yes, anytime. If you need a rest later, it's okay by me.
You don't have to be a hero. The greasy old
The offer still stands. Take it. You don't look so good.
You see a small metal door nested inside a larger one, a heavy steel blast door. There is a conventional keyhole above the handle. It's very small.
Another part of the island, probably. The lock looks like it could still be usable. Maybe this is one of the doors we don't open?
He's right. It would be better to open its big brother. A powerful engine hangs under the ceiling. It must control the blast door.
I think there's a console just southeast. Let's look around. Getting the blast door open seems like the best plan.
The heavy metal door stands. Green paint flecks off the monoblock aluminium cabinet. There are rows of switches on the front panel, a frequency band, and even a keyboard. The keys rattle like teeth. This keyboard hasn't been functional in decades.
The console of an anti-computation device. The generator upstairs, with wires coming out, they terminate here. Possibly. Urgence, ouvert, allumé, radiodiffusé. It sounds like this device was used to control the electronics here. Maybe it still does.
This device was used to control the electronics in the room. It could open doors, control lights, function as a radio computer. Nothing happens. The dial slides under the glass. Silently, you make out defunct stations on the UKV frequency. The words, Feld Insula, are written on the band. An idea lights up in your head.
This is an air-gapped system. Of air, I think they call it. That won't work. No, I'm not. But it would not be very good military technology if programmer ladies could control it remotely. Also, it's ancient, incompatible. We need to restore power before using this, officer. The generator, it didn't look like there was fuel in it. We should look around outside. There are barrels all over. Maybe one of them still has something in it.
The boat engine.
My kinema. I don't want to do that. Let's just look around.
The consul stands by, mutely. Urgence ouvert reads a dial key. Allumer reads another. The frequency band says radio diffuser. A strange feeling looking at the water. Maybe you should just wander off into the sea, leave it all, and walk in. Perhaps there's someone there, under the water, waiting for you, where it has always been, smelling of tutti frutti and betrayal. Maybe you know it's going to hurt. Yes, cold and still, but love is warm like the inside of her mouth. Yes, 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 yes. No, we're not starting with that. Not now, not this time. This thought is over. In the snowing mirror of the bay, you see Martinez reflected. Tall edifices of ruins reach into the water, like shimmering towers. And the shacks too. Pine trees and motor lorries, upside down. Islets and posts, like stepping stones, lead into the water in front of you. Go, step in. It's There's a rain-soaked mattress on a concrete slab, only half covered by the crumbling roof. At the head of it, double embrasures, firing slits like two eyes in the wall.
B triple prime. This looks like a good place to shoot from.
A single-person mattress, modern, civilian use. Brand name, Marjorie. There's a fuel stain on the cover, along with cigarette burns. And an empty can of beans on the ground next to it, filled to the brim with cigarette butts. The silhouette of a tobacco picker adorns the paper filter. The brand, Tio Moteri.
I may have been wrong when I said it wasn't important. This means the same person could have visited both locations. I didn't see any signs of smoking inside, though. If people live there, they keep it tidy. This here may also be a smoking spot.
There's a firing slit in the wall in front of you, like a little window. Quite old and grimy from years without cleaning by anything other than the rain. The springs screech as you lean on the mattress and crane your neck to look out. A small piece of Martinez coastline opens up in the square in front of you, like a tiny landscape painting. 1 kilometer across the water, the ruins look familiar. The red chimney and collapsed back of the 4-story tenement in front of the Whirling in Rags, Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 10, the doomed commercial area. A towering skyscraper, its top floors shaved off by artillery fire, Capeside apartments, Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33A and 33B. The box-shaped silhouette of the Whirling in Rags, you see a small fleck of white on the rooftop, the upstairs window of Clausia's room, in the snow, reflecting light.
Do you have a line of sight to the window?
More than that,
A pair of binoculars? Or a scope of a rifle? You'd be prone, lying on a mattress, barrel resting on the embrasure.
cheek against a cheek rest, hand on the hair trigger, on a calm day like this.
Good. I think we have it, Detective. The origin of the shot. This is the sniper's nest.
Affirmative.
Nothing pointed here. Many leads pointed elsewhere.
He looks north, over the fortification, then at the mattress.
Where?
He does not answer, just nods. With his back hunched, he looks around once more and says,
We should move now.
This old cylindrical generator waits with its fuel cap open. Makeshift electrical wiring runs out of its side and across the floor. The lieutenant assists you, holding the canister up to the fuel tank as you tilt. Dark brown, viscous fluid pours out, and the room fills with a chemical smell. There's a red starter switch on the side of the cylinder and a start rope on the other side. The lieutenant flicks the switch. The recoil start wakes the old generator up. The machine sputters like an old warhorse before settling down to a rattle.
That should do it.
A dim golden glow animates the console. Faint, like a ghost light. Urgence,
It's on. Turn emergency open.
automatic boot. The lighting in the room turns on with a sizzle, a dim ambient orange. The dial slides under the dusty glass, dark and silent, despite the power being on. You make out defunct stations on the UKV frequency. The words, failed insula, are written on the band. An idea lights up in your head.
This is an air-gapped system. Of air. No, I'm not. But it would not be very good military technology if programmer ladies could control it remotely.
The blast door opens with a series of clicks. A shaft of light appears, then widens as the light shines in.
After you. I don't know.
A thin wisp of smoke rises from a charred black fire pit. The wind picks up. Then
Don't worry. I have a gun. I know. It was not easy to acquire.
old man, wearing tracksuit trousers, leans on the frame stock of his rifle. He gathers a big ball of spit in his mouth, then spits it out into the extinguished fire before him. He raises his black eyes, hooded by creased eyelids, to meet yours. Unclouded by cataracts, his eyesight is sharp.
The what now? I can't hear you. I may have. All sorts of little rats have come sniffing around, trying to give up the position.
The position sounds like a hiding place.
Fire guy. Regressive bourgeoisie henchman. Can't even talk like a grown-up. My eyesight? Yes. Helps me see all the shit. I did. And you opened it. How? Reactionary rock and roll music. Playing on the water.
Told you we shouldn't play sad FM.
Sad FM, huh? I always hated that station. Phlegmatic, counter-revolutionary dirges. Sadness is a mental illness, a weapon of the bourgeoisie. The fascists were right about rock and roll. It is degenerate, hip gyrating, mental illness music. It's not nice. It's a piece of shit. But it gets the job done. It's a Triangong 446.
Southeast Samarin made, exotic, must be defunct too. No modern rifle manufacturer of that name springs to mind.
A Samaran rifle. How did you get hold of one?
It was sent to us by our brothers in the Signal commune. Military aid.
It has stayed true to him. He can still make it sing.
You heard me. It's good now. Like chalk wiped from the board.
He's right. Almost no one remembers there was a third metastasis of the world revolution in the Safre Empire, extinguished in '06.
They wouldn't like hearing their name in your mouth. Damn dog. Yes, I bet you've killed a lot of people with it. You fascist fuck. Have you come to make me one of them?
We have come to ask you questions, nothing more. If you do not comply, we will take you in. Do you understand?
The lieutenant pulls his pistol from the holster.
You are a glorified night watchman. This is a service rifle. I can only lay it down before an enemy commander of corresponding rank.
His elbows rest on the frame stock, calmly for now, but he may still get it in his hands. Looks like he knows the weapon. You don't see a magazine in the well. The words, "I am an enemy commander," sound cold as iron from your lungs. The old man still hugs his gun.
And what rank would that be, dog? A big wheel of the 4th Regiment of the Pederast Army. To hell with it. It's a walking stick anyway. It's out of bullets.
Like an amputated limb in the sand. He steers on, his wrinkled mouth moving without a sound. A strange sadness, like a song.
The future teaches you to be alone.
The present.
The present to be afraid and cold. Real music. Real Proletkult. That's La Revacholière, not your rock and roll misanthropy. Chanson de soldat of the black and whites.
Marching song. Forget about that for a moment. You need to address that remark first.
The job of a shitlicker. There you go. 1 of 3. In Grad, they sang Brave Children, favorites of history. And in Sinyao, it was some Samaran shit, I guess. How did it go? Something about shooting rabbits. I don't know. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. It's gone now.
He waves erratically with his hand, annoyed that he can't remember. A little tremor passes through him. His gaze follows your motions. The rifle feels surprisingly light in your hand. Frame stocked and patched in places with tape and wire. Still warm from his parched hands. Not the metal. The metal is ice cold. This weapon has been modified several times. The rifle's in a shabby state, like a crutch that's seen too much travel. Hieroglyphs are embossed into the forearm, made of walnut. On the butt, you see Vespertine writing, burned into the wood. Triangon, 4.46 millimeter, made in Sinyao.
No one said it has to be a Belmagrave. We were just guessing.
From ballistics, it could easily have been a Triangon, too.
It doesn't matter if it was made in Shanti Shanti. All it has to do is use jacketed ammunition. And it does. The right type and the right calibre. I wonder how old it is.
The old man does not answer. He just stares in front of him. The old man keeps following your motion with his gaze. His right arm twitches suddenly. Some kind of involuntary response? Something is slightly off with his motorics. This looked very much like the murder weapon. It could be used against him to get a confession in time.
My name is Josef Lilianovich Dross, Political Commissar of the 114th Anti-Aircraft Division of the 4th Army of the Commune of Revachol. I am a deserter, a partisan, and a prisoner of war. This is my termless surrender.
The commune of Revachol? Do you mean the ICM? You're a holdover from the...
From the Insular Indian Citizens Militia, the Army of the Revolution. I was recruited in Jamrock in '07, trained in the École de Contrôle Orient, and consigned to emergency defense duties in '08. I left my unit on the eve of the landing. When I returned here on May 14th, the commune had fallen. Still armed and ideologically trained, I wrote a criticism of myself and resumed partisan duties.
51 minus 8 equals 43.
No. I've been on other islands, too. I was an resurrection until they turned it into a spa in '18. Then I was an E-48, a nameless sound, until the sea washed over it. Then I came back here. That was 22 years ago. "43 years and 10 months. It's not how a human being should live, but I had to. I couldn't just forget. I couldn't just forget what I saw.
He just couldn't. He nods. But he can now.
What have you been doing during all this time?
Hiding, fishing, waiting.
Where the afternoon grows late, on Rue de Saint-Ghislain, people walk home. Street lights will soon be lit. Further inland, the streets are alive with workers, men, women, children, street hawks and migrant laborers. The temperature is steady. Alto cumulus clouds form above Precinct 41. 2 police officers step out of the Whirling in Rags cafeteria. Satellite officer Jean-Vic Mayer inspects giant letters across the plaza mosaic in dark red government-marked heavy fuel oil. Patrol officer Judith Minot points west, the fishing village. She glances at her watch. We meet in 15 minutes. It's a 10-minute walk. The officers go, leaving behind the writing, still smelling of petroleum. One day, it says, I will return to your side.
Always waiting. For her to return.
Her who?
Girl child revolution. I am not a fool. I know the material base for an uprising has eroded. The working class has betrayed mankind. The historic opportunity for a revolution has passed. It will not come back anymore, however hard I try, whatever I do. I was just 16 years old, 15 when I volunteered. I had a lapse of faith. And of courage, too. You could say I misunderstood the historic role of the proletariat and thought Mazovian socioeconomics were fallible. For a second, I doubted the irreducible laws of historic materialism. A second is all it took for reaction to take hold. Petty bourgeois terror. It's in all men. It's the same thing. You haven't seen it. Not really. Not naked. It's impossible not to be afraid.
And this was when?
He is still not convinced of his safety. You should not be either.
May the 13th, '08, 44 years ago. The horizon was black with coalition airships. Their petroleum rose to the sky, and it looked like it formed the clouds, storm clouds. When they started shelling, it was dark magic. The combined might of international capital. All at once, all the greed and terror in the world tore into Revachol. It lifted streets from the ground and turned houses into ghosts. We were in the flak tower. Huddled on the floor. The artillery was 80 kilometers away in Ozon. But I knew the commune would fall. We would all be turned into ash. So I said I was going to the map room.
A terrible shame, still within him. The lobes of his ears are red with it. The shame and smallness of what he became.
Nah. I climbed the chain link across the water and hid inland, in the bunkers there, like the weakest of the weak. A mouse, frightened of the ordnance all night, and the sound of the rotors in the morning, whirring. Airships. I climbed out into hell. The landing was complete. The chain was submerged. I had to swim back. The fortress was half submerged too, shattered. They'd all drowned in the lower levels, or got torn to shreds above. The anti-aircraft gun had malfunctioned. So had I. I left them without ideological direction. It was real. I'd seen it. I'd seen it in reality. The mask of humanity fall from capital. It has to take it off to kill everyone, everything you love. All the hope and tenderness in the world. It has to take it off just for 1 second to do the deed. And then you see it, as it strangles and beats your friends to death. The sweetest, most courageous people in the world. You see the fear and power in its eyes. Then you know that the bourgeois are not human. I had to. I had to fight it. I had to never stop. It's not an island, what? It's a defensive fortification of the commune of Revachol. And I am its last surviving defender. The congenitally deformed King Philip II built it to restrict access to the Bay of Revachol. We captured it in '02, retrofitted the fort with an AA gun to defend against an airborne landing. Against the whole world. Coalition military called it Operation Deathblow. I later found out on the radio they called it Deathblow. You're one of them. Tell me, who speaks like that? We had 50 million people on Caillou alone. Sure you are. You're RCM. Answer me. Who calls an operation against 50 million people Deathblow? You don't know. You haven't seen it. Iblis. The black-eyed angel. How does anyone survive? I steal. Supplies, vegetables. I collect rainwater. It's the life of a dog, not a human being.
How is your health, Mr. Dross?
I've been throwing up blood since winter. Red, like beetroot. Been passing it in stool, too.
He does seem frail. Gaunt for his age. More like 75 than 65. Trouble putting on weight could mean cancer.
The RCM can provide medical services. You need to be looked over.
I need to die. You don't have medical facilities. You have guns. That's all they give you. Toy guns. I have been running out of that stuff. There's nothing to look over. The triage is in, and it's black. Administer morphine. Moribund. I have holes in my brain. Years missing. Others filled with pain only. A decade of... I don't even know what. Inferno?
I would imagine it gets tremendously difficult, mentally, to live in isolation.
Traitors. It's better alone. I watch the people of this city turn the lights back on, more and more each year. Ruins, glimmering in the dark, like a fucking merry-go-round. It's disgusting. It was hard in the Thames. I didn't have partisan training. They were searching for stragglers, those bloodhounds. Floodlights on the water at night.
There were posters, campaigns.
We communards still hoped, and they needed to snuff that hope out. The East capitulated. Martinez and Cold City were turned to dust. But Jamrock, Forburg, even Coron, and Boogie Street, of course. Those fucking kips had Marsov coursing through their veins. And others too. Some cordons of Revachol was still fighting. There were cells. I tried to contact them. Soon they all went silent. The frequencies dead. At night, I used a dinghy. I only went after dark then. When I got to the city, I stayed underground. Patrols, you lot, the commons too. They'd started snitching.
In the city, you move underground?
From bunker to bunker. Not anymore. No one cares now. I don't even have to hide. They think I'm another antisocial vagrant. I could walk straight into that town if I wanted. I just... I don't want to. They're all traitors. Pigs, rabbits, and dogs. Men without ideals are only animals. So you finally found it. There must have been a small squadron's worth of arms in there. Elmer Graves, right? I know.
So you've been there?
Sleeping. Some nights. Ammo scrounging on others. Those McGraves were shit, even before they corroded. Some had bullets in the chamber, however.
You feel the dots connecting. Little dots on the map he's walked across. Wait, how did he get down there?
I didn't have to. Came in through the storm drains.
Storm drains?
There used to be a system that connected the bunkers, tunnels and such, under the church and everywhere. Most of them are gone now, collapsed, just bricks. All the old infrastructure has... The propaganda bunker. I used to, but not anymore.
Propaganda bunker?
They stored leaflets there. Broadcasting equipment, too. Made broadcasts, I think. Propaganda officers. I buried them with their leaflets. They killed themselves. 2 young boys. A lot of our boys did. I spent some winters there. Never liked it. Kept thinking of them. No need to go underground anymore. It's better in the ruins, on the ground. I do. They're good. Plenty of tar. I like that boy on the pack, too. Reminds me of the last century.
The old man looks across the water, at the city, the ruins, the motorways rising above it.
No, I am not a soldier. I am an ideological officer. I belong to the party, not the army. Trained in historical materialism, then assigned as a political commissar by the party. These things used to mean something.
The old man does not answer. He tilts his silver head and looks at the reeds.
His job was to assure the army answers to civilian control and follows the ideology of the Commune.
Scientific communism. A commissaire politique is a night philosopher of the revolution, a future human.
Awakened from shutdown by the promise of ideology. He nods slowly, then another tremor.
You're with the RCM, the coalition-appointed mob that enforces bourgeois morals in Revachol. A so-called Lieutenant W. Freighter. You're the RCM. You represent the Moralist International, the enemies of humanity who took this city. I represent their adversary, le Parti Communiste d'Insolande. Take me to them as a prisoner of war. I have relinquished my weapon. I can no longer serve. No superiors can relieve me of my duty. You bulldoze them all to a mass grave for trying to free humanity.
A spray of blood from his mouth on the black charcoal in the fire pit. Rene, the royalist on the coast, said,
Only the army. Liberal reactionaries signed it for them. Traitors who should have been burned alive. I am a political commissar of the Communist Party, and the party never surrendered.
Is that part of why you've been here all this time? Because the party didn't surrender?
He just wipes the blood from his chin.
I don't think you did. You live in a delusion. Radio shows, speed racing, and sporting goods. It's not real. There's nothing serious in this world. It's a farce. I ain't going anywhere. Minions of capital. What do you want?
What strikes you about this gaunt man is not the stomach pain, or the cough, or the malnutrition. For a man who's spent 44 years hidden in the urban wild. Indeed, he speaks fluidly. His movements are rapid, if erratic. His voice, despite the cough, is there. It is capable of expressing complicated ideas. Above all, he seems animated. It's a mystery. This animation comes at a cost too. Erratic hand gestures, thought processes cut off like threads as he just stares at the logs or the reeds. He also suffers mood swings, bubbling to the surface, unconstrained by his nervous system. You've seen demented people before. This feels similar, yet different. When his thoughts move, they are lucid, keen even, not senile.
No, I'm not okay. I shit blood, and I'm surrounded by insane people.
There it is again, erratic hand motions, bouts of rage, and the stomach thing too, of course.
Minions of capital. Minions of capital. What? Minions of capital. What do you want? I've used it for killing people.
Killing people?
It's a gun. That's what they're for. You want a moralist euphemism? Defending your family and your property. I haven't done that. I've used it to kill people.
Interesting. During or after the war?
There is no after the war. Class war is never over.
So he's continued killing after hostilities ended. Okay. This is it. You can feel it, like battery acid on the tip of your tongue. Something you haven't felt in a while. But this is what you live for. This is the shit. The great serotonin jackpot. The solution. Go in straight. No euphemisms. He doesn't like those. No. Be careful now. Slow and steady does it. Make him repeat it first. Don't mess this up. Remember, he wants to tell you. Get personal. Nothing comes to you. Silence. His black eyes look at you. And in them, a chill, like electricity running up your spine, crawling into your skull.
All is not as it seems.
Detective.
I don't want to tell you anything, you grotesque murderer.
And why did you think that was a good idea? Don't listen to me. I'm wrong all the time.
The who now?
heard you. He just wants to hear you say it again. This is dramatic flair on his part. Right choice. We're in. Do it, sire.
Oh, yes, that one. Ugly piece of work, that boy.
Did you kill him?
I am a son of a welder and an officer of the commune of Revachol. I do not collaborate with murderers and pederasts of the liberal regime.
A drop of blood in the saliva. Exhaust him with proof. Pile it all on him. Get a confession. The gun, the murder weapon, is the perfect opener. The scent of blood in the air. But what else? There was something you can't remember. Something about the tracks. Suddenly, all those tracks are so confusing. Go with something else first.
Not a lot of guns around that use military-grade ammunition, are there?
It's a real gun. Not like your little musketeer pistol. I've seen you prance around with that, jumping hoops for the liberals. You look like imbeciles. Why don't you ask them to give you real weapons? Going against automatic rifles with these toy guns. Of course you got those boys killed.
Damn, he saw you. He's watched it happen. He would have a good view of the tribunal from here. It's not just empty boasting. So he saw you. Okay. So what? Don't let it divert you.
You know what? You're right. I'm convinced this made the shot. Should we call it? .46 jacketed ammunition, modified for range. We have it. This is it. Good. This feels good, doesn't it? Tearing things up like this. When you have the murder weapon, you have the killer.
Murder.
Like a marionette on some invisible string.
I saw you poking around there, looking for evidence. You're damn diligent when it comes to dead fascies. Did you like the view?
You had direct visibility. There are embrasures in the concrete, specifically meant for a top follower to use. And you had a long-range rifle in your possession. You've been here a long time, Mr. Dross. Too long. You clearly need medical aid.
I'm ready to die. I've done my part.
He's practically admitting to it. Dead fascists for fascists. Done his part. Just one thing remains unclear. The rifle does not seem to have a scope.
Forget about your stupid fucking scope. I don't know where it is. Find it yourself. It's your problem now.
He lost it. He just doesn't know where it is. Forget it. Push on.
You're sad for your fascia brother, aren't you? One twig got broken. Now the others are sad. Stupid dwat.
The lieutenant looks at you with worry in his eyes. Not this, he seems to say. Anything but this.
Intuition is an aberrant psychologism. It reeks of crypto-fascism. The parasite class use intuition to justify their rank in life. Your brain is rotting from the radio waves.
He does not answer the provocation. It does not look like he thinks this approach worked. But still, somehow you knew it was a communist. Perhaps you suspected it before you took the case. The vision was you remembering that. Was it supposed to? The inland sea is dark, vast, and on the surface, meaningless.
Standing there, slack-jawed, brain festering.
Wait, here it comes. The goddamn Maybells. The dried Maybells on Clausia's roof. There were Maybells in the grass when you got here. They're revolutionary symbols from the war. Nowhere else, nowhere in all of Martinaise have you seen them this spring. Wait, don't forget the footprints. The diagonal prints in the dust in the secret space behind Clausia's bedroom. Now they're gonna come up. You got it. Remember, the boot prints were like no modern soul.
Damn Maybells. The whole island is turning white with them. So many this year, too. The spring is coming. No, it's already here. Wash the filth away. They blossom on the islets before we fertilize them with our blood. Resurrection was snow white in May before they ruined it.
South, The Bay of Martinez is dotted with little freckles of islets, turning green, with white flowers in white snow.
The coast, too, before they piled their containers on top of it, filled with broken, useless trash for fat-fingered bourgeois children to play with.
You must get around a lot to stay undetected all these years. Do you know any secret paths? Pinball workshops?
I may. Classier.
He knows her, but hadn't heard the name.
My ears don't reach the city. With the victim.
There is a small tremble, looks like a smile, a crooked smile, yet isn't quite voluntary. He's about to burst. Don't leave any loose ends. Get him on everything.
Everything is brands with you individualists. Who cares what brand my shoes are? Sansa. Some shit.
Show me the souls, please, Mr. Doras.
Fucking imbecile.
The maker is Sensorique. The model is Cordobe, and the size is 43. These are not the unusual horizontal patterned souls you saw in the dust on the floor of the hidden room. They do, however, seem to be about the same size.
The size fits, but not the soul.
Sire, he doesn't have to be wearing them right now.
Racking those brains, are you? Desperate to report something back to your masters? They must have really loved that dead fuck.
The lieutenant gives you a quick sideways glance and nods to acknowledge. The prints were his. You can see it in those eyes. He can't keep them from flickering, looking for something. The old man stares at his own prints in the ash around the fire. Silent suddenly, some strange process within him. A gush of wind. Seagulls in the distance.
You know who he was. A coalition-trained murderer. Armored and armed. He wasn't human. The blunt end of a hammer. Dripping with blood. Beating us to the ground, moaning with joy. You hounds get so thorough when a company-trained killer dies. I haven't seen you on this coast for 40 years. You know, maybe I should have killed one sooner. Got your attention. Now you stop beating druggies and prostitutes in your basement. Now you come to investigate. Not when they die by the hundreds.
This is it. Shot him. Shot him. Say shot him, not killed him.
Oh, the inhumanity. One paramilitary less in Revachol.
The lieutenant raises his right arm to hush you. Hush. He does not need to be pushed anymore. The ball is rolling. While the lieutenant listens, holding his breath.
I had them in my sights. Both of them. Him and the whore. I was breathing with them. In phase. and I pulled the trigger and flew on the air until I landed in his mouth. I didn't think I had a shot like that in me anymore. I did. I saw him kneel there with his mouth full of death, and that stupid look on his face. And his dick still in her. Nothing. I went to sleep. Next morning there were Maybells everywhere. The world was white, or what's left of it anyway. My last spring here. I knew the fascists would come to avenge their own. And so they did.
Mr. Dross, are you aware you're confessing to murder?
Yes.
And you were looking at them, the victim and a young woman, having sex, through the scope of your rifle that night, before you shot him?
The old man nods.
Why?
Because that's what they were doing.
The motive. This is where the motive is going to come from.
I don't understand. Do you, detective? I don't understand this part.
I'm always looking.
Are you always looking through the scope of a rifle? I'm just trying to understand.
A rifle's scope has the best magnification.
And if you don't like it?
Click.
Yes. Think of it as a form of critique.
He will not stop now. These dialectical materialist types never do. Exploit it. You've got him going. Connect every little piece now. Wrap this up like a gift.
Them. Fucking. I didn't like that. Jealousy is a reactionary concept. I didn't like the Reaver enjoying himself. Drugged out, soothed in the arms of a young woman. I wanted him to die so he could not enjoy life anymore. And I wanted to see his head explode. That too. She should know better than to hold a child murderer between her thighs. I knew he'd be there for one more second, writhing. That's all it takes for the bullet to reach his head. Now that I think of it, I wasn't aiming for his mouth. I wanted his brains to spill out on her. But you can't have everything.
This man has seen past her, like you did. The caliber of bullet he used does not do that kind of damage.
Since she came to Martinez, I saw her sneaking in the reeds early in the morning, behind the Fell building. It was dark, still winter. She didn't have her skimpy outfit on then, just a spot in the night, moving.
Past the Fell building on the coast? What was she doing there?
Hiding something in the water. She had a fag after she'd done it. I was up in the ruins there. She couldn't see me, but I could see her, smoking. She was nervous, but not scared. Her passport and ticket to Villiers, and from there to Cachet Brut.
In the free state of Seminine, hidden away at the edge of the earth, near the Pale.
Yes, after she'd gone. It was a submersible. Well made, actually.
Sloppy. We should have gotten her to tell us about this. Did you take the documents?
No, I put them back. Why would I take them? I'm not going to phone. Oh, I mean... I did. She had a face like an archipelago with those birthmarks, and a body hard and lean and bruised all over, black and yellow. I could see she's taken a beating. I could see who she was, too. A spook, on the run. Revachol's the cloaca of capital now. All the bagmen and arms dealers end up here to do drugs and have sex like animals.
You could tell she was a spook from the documents?
She had different color hair on the photo, and glasses. Forged. Some sordid bourgeois affair. I've heard about this kind of thing on the radio.
He's setting it up for you. The bruises, you can't make that out in a scope.
You can't see bruises through a scope. It's just a blur.
It quickly comes to you.
Oh, yes. Cutting those drugs of hers into little lines with a knife. Masturbating.
Did you make that hole?
With a clip-point knife.
Good for listening in, too. For hearing the moaning and the snorts.
Like that, too. Yes. Bending like a bow against the glass. I've been through all of Martinez. Every nook and cranny. Yes, that too. The things they did in that little room. What she'd do to feel good. Funny the way light works. You turn it on inside, and it gets so dark out, you can't see a man looking in. I learned that in the 20s, when they were still hunting me. I've seen people do some shit, but...
Those two took the cake. You hear the familiar scribble of the lieutenant's pen. A quick glance at you. One more loose end down. We're doing this, detective.
How did you get in there? The hidden pinball workshop.
I can just walk in there now after a good wash. I told you, they think I'm an antisocial. Closing hour is a good time. The kitchen's empty.
You had to open the steel door in the kitchen? How?
I got that open a long time ago. Some bourgeois game merchant lived there. I don't know, 15 years ago. He left spare keys all over, and I took one. Then I saw her turn the light on one night in my scope.
Andy found use for it. A spare key, like the one hanging behind the Union Box window.
There's nothing to hold on to. Only this. It's not enough.
The coals of his eyes glisten suddenly, like stones dripping with water. Is he crying?
Man needs to feel something else. In this fight, it helps if you have your eye on something there. It's weakness, I know. No. I don't really know. I was there one night and she was crying, like a child, in the corner of her room on the floor, like she does sometimes. The day after I killed him. Yes, I don't know why I do the things I do anymore.
It's as if something put the thought there to leave the flowers.
What do you mean, put? Maybe. I told you, I have holes in my brain now. I wouldn't just sit here waiting for you. If you came 10 years ago, I would have killed you.
In the silence, the lieutenant draws a line in his notes, then nods at you once more. One more down.
Her.
The lieutenant nods at you in acknowledgement. That's it. Motive. We have it.
Where is she, that Clasier? I haven't seen her there for days. Gone. I knew it. She kept staring into the scope this last week at the island, like she knew. She'd look at night, crying or smoking on the roof, staring right into me. It doesn't matter.
Midtown, across the Bay of Rivershell, the oceanic wind washes 40-story towers. Above them, Lusan's Central Aerodrome, a cocoon suspended in the sky by a web of suspension wiring, encircled by hybrid aircraft. On the platform, a young woman is withdrawing from amphetamines, barbiturates, and alcohol. Yet still she smiles among the crowd, among the great ghosts of the city she's leaving, for another, far south. Smaller, distant, hidden, not like the great chandelier she sees sparkle in the night below her. Streetlights, towers, tenements, and water, and across it a dark strip of ruins, barely visible if she didn't squint her eyes. There, on a dilapidated jetty in a nameless village, 2 police officers and 1 special consultant look across a narrow strip of sea. The ruins of a seafort stick out of the water, built by Philippe II, reappropriated by the Commune, then lost in the landing. He's there, doing what exactly, I don't know. Satellite Officer Vic Mayer points at the ruins. Behind that anti-aircraft something. That's why we can't see him. Special Consultant Heidelstein is optimistic. We'll see the boat when he comes. Let's go get a coffee until then. I know this interesting little place. Where? His voice trails off as the 3 walk down the jetty. As the men go, Patrol Officer Minnow looks back over her shoulder at the crumbling fortification like a rotten tooth rising out of the water.
We could get more. We've got him talking.
Who knows what he's seen and done over the years? Enough. Take him in. Bend his arms behind his back and end this.
A tragic comedy. Druggies, prostitutes, and rentiers.
A strange little engine seems to fire up in him again. It straightens his back. The familiar put, put, put of hatred.
Specifically, the whole city is a charnel house. stripped clean and draped in neon. But Martinez is the worst. Because of the racists, everyone is a racist in Martinez. It's their favorite thing to do in the whole world. Listening to race-themed radio shows. In the ruins, in their lorries. Pumped full of steroids and Radio Revachol 92. Race this, race that. It's all sanctioned by that Social Democratic Union and the farce of a Social Democrat who runs it. Yes, the fly larva in his container. He let some nihilistic advertising yuppies erect a statue of Philippe III, a syphilitic murderer, on the town square, to spit on the working class. Not since the serfs of ancient Pericarnassus has history produced a more inert social class than the Martinez proletariat. The rest of Revachol at least pretends to rebuild. These people still live in ruins. In tents, like animals, like those boom-boom morons on the ice. A pity they didn't drown in that tent of theirs. The worst of them is the blood-drenched Sucrion on her yacht, licking her lips. The old whore's gone now. Her gun-toting porcelain men are dead. So, actually, no. The worst is that old cop parading around in his uniform, throwing balls all day. It's not enough that the racists and liberals are dancing on our graves. The old loyalist ghouls still parade the ruins too. Every morning he's there, while the parasites he fought to protect are off in Ozon, or Coyamorang, or some other island they built their palaces on, feeding on drugs and having sex with their own children. That's all the rich really want, sex with their own children. Throughout history, even the royal bloodline of the suzerain, it's all just an excuse for them to have sordid sex. At least that old cunt, Frisell, is now dead. We did good when we pushed him under the horse car, until, in the 30s, those disco whores.
The disco whores are too much. Hatred shuts down his brain's language center, leaving only a nonsensical sputter. There was something about a statue and nihilistic advertising agency people might be worth investigating. And the Sucriant on her yacht? Joyce? Probably. Boom boom morons on thin ice, going under. Those are the tent kids. Ask about that cock on parade too. Make sure you get everything here.
Every fucking morning for 34 years. Throwing that ball. One ball against the other. I've always loathed that game. That is not a working class game. I don't care what they say on Radio June. Royalist ghouls played like it was life itself. Click, clack across the water each day. And that uniform, like a parrot plumage. I won't even mention that he's a traitor to his race. A petanque maniac race traitor. I remember him. I remember him from La Noce. Not him personally, his make and model. There were tens of thousands of them. I thought we took them all out before the liberals came to their rescue. We missed one. That one.
There doesn't seem to be a single person under the pine today, not even Gaston, alone.
Fat and plump, like a pheasant. Just begging to be popped off. Please, Mr. Dross, shoot me. Not yet. I like to look at him strut around, place the crosshair on his medals, right on his face, and just fiddle the trigger. Think about it. Let the bomb melt in my mouth.
Save the treat for later?
He is a juicy bonbon, that one. A real treat for the black day. The blackest. When I put that gun in my own mouth, I think, no, don't waste it. Put this lead in that cock, René. For the boys he killed. And then I look at him throw those balls, and I suddenly feel better. I even hid one bullet, so I'd always have one for him. Haven't seen him around lately, strutting around. Must be down with arthritis. I hope it hurts like hell. I hope he sweats blood. No. I waited too long. I waited too long, and now he's dead?
I'm sorry, Mr. Dross. I understand you knew him for a long time.
They're all dead now. Fuck it.
If he really wanted to kill him so bad, he would have done. There must have been 1,000 black days on these islands. His health ailing.
All human beings care about each other. I cared for seeing his head explode. Now, God damn this world. And I blew them all. What does it matter now? He's gone. Fuck you. You think I haven't seen people die? It's all I've seen them do. Fuck and die. All the other plans we had. To love. To colonize the Pale. It's all fucked.
He's not okay. This is just another black day in a row of black days. Something strange is keeping him together, making him endure.
I don't even care about those whores anymore. Get it over with. Take me in. Frizzell the First. Philip the Second. What's the difference? Syphilitic murderers the lot. I don't want to think about those things anymore. I'm tired of all of it. I don't want to talk about goddamn social democrats. Traitors is all they are. Brain dead. They were boom imbeciles. At least they're not there anymore. What more is there to say? They're duped by bourgeois culture. I've seen their kind pop up, like worms after the rain.
Oh, there's plenty to say, hardcore man.
I don't think now is the time for this, officer.
To no avail.
Beats. Violent bourgeois language. Even music is a form of homicidal competition. Saxophone blowing anti-communism. Who fucking cares? Glad we talked about what?
His lip curls into...
Glad we talked about what? What? But you said I would be taken to the...
The wind picks up. The silence on the water is broken all around you. Little shivers of waves appear. The lieutenant continues, like an incantation.
Your Wayfarer rights have been suspended. Information provided to the officers on the scene will be used against you by the prosecution. You will be given legal counsel within 1 week and must face court in 44 days. Do you understand? Do you understand?
But... No, I don't want to. I have to stay here.
He's sweating. Beads are forming on his forehead.
Your confirmation is not required, sir. Now on to the boat.
You thought you heard something, but it's just the reeds.
Maybe we could all fit in there. Not really. We could escort him to the pier, then either one of us can take him inland while the other stays here, but...
But then, who watches him while you're coming back here?
You come back for me? How about I go and send a boat back for you?
What is this farce? This is a fucking farce. I can't.
Lillian. You could ask her, maybe.
This is no harmless old man.
This fucking world. This world. What is this?
No, listen. Listen now.
No, it would take a whole day on this island. You go and transport the prisoner. I'll be here. I can escort him to the pier with you.
This world. What are you talking about? Is this... us?
The wind is cold from the east. Your skin is crawling suddenly. A delicate tangle of arms and legs unfolds from the reeds, limb by limb, to then just stand there, moving its scythe-like arms in ghostly silence. It's still there, an unfolding mechanism of reed-like chitin, hovering in place.
What are you talking about? There's nothing there.
The stick insect is over 3 meters tall. It looks straight at you with its tiny pinprick eyes and its grotesquely small head. You feel your legs shaking under you and your gun hand rise instinctively.
Tell me what you see, damn it. I can't make out one small thing in the reeds.
I can see it.
4 simple words, thank God. If he can see, then you're not insane. But that means it's really there, spinning slowly, in absolute silence, its limbs long and slender.
Be very, very careful.
The creature stands on long stilt-like legs, antennae hanging from its head like a woman's hair, white and curled at the tips. It is no more than 5 steps away from you. Reed-like tufts stick out of its joints. As the insect moves its forearms, it produces a faint hiss, like a reel-to-reel machine spinning after the tape breaks. Slowly, with your breath held, you take 2 small steps toward the phasmid. The creature lets out a series of ultrasonic clicks that swarm around your head like swallows. The tracheal system on the creature's abdomen expands in front of you to take in and expel air. It's smelling you. Hissing and clicking, it extends its mandible-like antennae to greet you. You're right below it now, looking up at the colossal chitin of its white limbs. The head of the creature is crowned by reeds, and its eyes are like small droplets of water.
Okay.
There is no change in the insect's motion while it's being aimed by the camera. It remains fixated on you.
In 3. If it moves, you jump back. I'll shoot. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
The shrill flash of the camera cuts the air like the blade of a sword. The phasmid freezes in its bright light. Head turned toward the lieutenant, hypnotized by the flash. It stands frozen before you.
I got it.
The antennae hang from a great height. With your hand shaking, you barely touch the tip of the left whisker. On contact, the kiting curls into a spiral, like the tip of a poison ivy. Its touch on your fingertip feels cold, ticklish. It is surprisingly delicate, the curly end of the whisker, like a young vine. It's even a bit wet.
Be careful, detective. It's moving.
You were right. It glistens with some kind of moisture. The creature in front of you stays frozen. It tastes like sugar, very faint. The anthropod towers above you, tufts of reeds pointing from limb and head alike. Odorless, mostly comprised of water. The limb before you is incredibly light, like eggshell. It's much lighter than a reed. You feel a soft push could tip the creature over. Its hollow exoskeleton collapsing. Warning! A sudden shiver passes the limb. Looks like the creature is awakening, wave by wave from its stupor. Some sort of countdown process is happening. That's all you have time to think. Another shudder pulses through the creature's limbs. It jolts back to life, like a record continuing where it left off, in a swaying, praying motion. Even the small black pearls of its eyes do not stray from you. No reply. A total ancient silence comes from its mouth, along with what appears to be some kind of foam. The stridulations of its limbs continue all around you. You were right. Little bubbles form on the mouth parts of the creature, on its segmented lower lip. It looks to be foaming, slowly. The foam is white, then yellowish. The faintest smell, like you've never felt before, like burnt roses.
Careful. It may be poisonous.
The foam slowly turns a darker shade, like burnt caramel, as the insect moves its mouth parts, masticating. The little bubbles begin to burst, one by one, letting out that same smell, like summer burning.
I exist. Tell me what it's like for you. Then I will tell you what it's like for me. Fire? Where? I do not have fire inside me. In me, there is not even blood, but lymph, like sap from a one palm. Now, I will tell you what it's like for me. For me, it is a series of half-lit images, a kind of darkness, being intruded upon, transient, dim, moist. Shapes of plants and animals, and internal sensations. A swarm of sounds, tiny vibrations on the inside of my forearms, all speak of complexities totally beyond my understanding. I am at the end of a narrow funnel, weightless, so light, it only feels like something to be me. In truth, perhaps I'm nothing. I certainly do not have a soul, and if I did, it would never burn. Are you sure? Sometimes, when molting, I will grow a lost limb. One time something went wrong, and a small leg replaced the missing antenna. No, the leg tried to move around independently, making it hard to walk. Yes, thankfully someone ate it. The next time I molded, I grew an antenna again. So am I. I was born to detect sucrose rewards and semiochemicals. What were you born to detect? He's in a bad state, deteriorating fast now. He thinks I am beneficial to him, but I am not. I only quicken his deterioration. Very slowly, and only because he won't go away. It is meant to keep them from noticing me, to interfere with the pictures in their heads. But he has looked at me for too long, and I am destroying him. No, you are awake. I am real. Light is forming me. This is real. Not even the birds know that. Not even the water lily. You can also eat it. If it's a leaf, you can put it in your mouth. Yum yum. Or read.
Wait, so
Yes, they don't mind. Yes, I once cloned myself and ate the little ones. It was winter, and I woke up at the wrong time. It was an accident. I am an unknown species of the order Phantasmadia, endemic to the Insulandian Isoma. For the last 350 years, I have hidden in plain sight, masquerading as the reeds, molding, cloning myself, unfolding at night to play with trash bins and boys. I went unnoticed by the first settlers and the land surveyors of the suzerain, also by the soldiers of the revolution and the officials of the occupation. Even the Samanese islanders who came here first, but did not stay, have not seen me. I have stayed hidden through 4 forms of government and 2 scientific revolutions, until I was accidentally discovered by a detective of the cities in Malaysia in Rebosho, district of Martinez, March 51. No, you are. The moral of our encounter is, I am a relatively medium life form, while it is you who are a total extreme madness. A volatile simian nerve system ominously new to the planet. Pale too came with you. No one remembers it before you. The Nidarians do not. The radially symmetrics do not. There is an almost unanimous agreement between the birds and the plants that you are going to destroy us all. It is a nervous shadow cast into the world by you, eating away at reality. A great, unnatural territory. Its advent coincides with the arrival of the human mind. You are a violent and irrepressible miracle. The vacuum of cosmos and the stars burning in it are afraid of you. Give me enough time, you will wipe us all out and replace us with nothing. Just by accident. We suspect it will be something like the oxygen holocaust that wiped out anaerobic life 2.6 billion years ago, when organisms first started breathing. Only much worse.
Instead of air, you exhale thoughts. There are no trees that eat thoughts.
Everything your eyes touch goes back there, behind the nose mirror. What if you blink? Are we still here? Please don't blink. What if he misplaces us all one day, or just forget? So it is already happening. Soon, one of you will close your eyes and open them to see that none of this ever existed.
It doesn't look like that, no. You're just staring at it. Okay. Is it somehow related to the case? I think you should back away from the unstudied species now.
No, there is one more. Thank you. I also have one more thing to say to you before you go. That woman, turn from the ruin. Turn and go forward. For all mankind. You cannot lie to me. Behind you, he smells of fires. So awfully far you were prepared to go in her presence. And it. She was hell on earth. It doesn't take a 3-meter stick insect to tell you that.
Maybe it is real, the pheromone.
About now, he is ready to believe in anything. The insect's head is crowned with reed-like scales, the shape of seed heads. They rustle as the air moves. The ventricles at its abdomen continue expanding, like lunglets. Breathing you in, your sour, greasy semiochemicals on the breeze. The insect stops its stridulation, seeming to observe you. Below its crown of reeds, little pinprick eyes detect motion, glittering. The world stands still around you. Suddenly, there is silence. As you do, the invertebrate comes to life, its limbs moving independent of each other, as if each has a mind of its own. They are white, like stalks of porcelain, knitting above you, praying to you. The reed creature does not stop its stridulations. It towers above you, parting the reeds it emerged from. Tuft-like structures still rustle on its joints. Perhaps it is preparing to eat its god. As you're turning away, the phasmid mirrors your movements, stepping on the water, the long limbs carrying its feather weight without breaking its surface. And just like that, it's gone, skating away across the sea's calm mirror like a skipping stone, leaving nothing but circles on the water. And something under it, in the place it stood, bobbing there, among the reeds, a collection of items.
It's gone. Apparently, yes, like a water strider. Only, I've never seen anything like that in my life. Looks like a nest of some sort. We should have a look.
What now?
Our suspect is not looking so good. We need to check on him.
Brother, you've managed to collect all the armor pieces. Too bad it's too late for the big showdown. It would have looked very impressive. Still, you found it all. Now your mortal coil is completely protected. Few cops are this futuristic.
What is it? What do you want from me? I can't go.
Something is very wrong with him now.
See.
Mr. Doras?
The man does not respond. He keeps staring, black eyes glazed over and bulging from their sockets, his gap-toothed mouth shaking. A light shiver passes him, followed by nothing. His hands are trembling, and he breathes slowly.
He's going into some kind of psychomotor immobility. The good news is, this solves our transportation problem, doesn't it, Mr. Doras?
The trembling mouth appears to sigh.
Between this and the broken tire he's used for a boat, I think it's safe to leave him here, while we go and get help. It will need to be medical first, I'm afraid. old age and shock. The appearance of the Phasmid in conjunction with the stress of the arrest. He spent his entire life here. For him to leave would be...
He stares into the reeds. Your words don't stir anything in him. Perhaps you should.
I lost.
He turns his eyes to the reeds again, as he's done so many times. Beige and white stripes.
He lost the scope. Then it somehow made its way over there, with the help of a magpie Phasmid. This sight is a T9, Mr. Dross. Was it attached to the rifle when you made the shot?
Silence. Not even a sigh. Nothing. Just dull staring. Not even rage left, wherever he is.
If Kuno kicked it into the sea, as he said he did, the ebb would put it back here. This makes sense. Mr. Dross could have picked it up. Or the Phasmid even. If it did, this is incredible.
The plastic cape flaps around his face in a gust of wind. His back is slouched and his mouth open. The blacks of his eyes are receding. His pupils are returning to normal.
We should think about getting back to the mainland. To get help. He'll be safe here, if we don't take too long.
The skiff is swaying on the waves by the dock.
Let's. We are done here.
The skiff rocks gently under your weight as you get in. The ride back is uneventful and quiet. But for the sound of conversation on the water, there is someone inland waiting for you. Two men and a woman stand on the concrete square of a nameless village, looking at a small yellow boat as it draws closer. The sea is calm. You reach the jetty and climb out of the skiff.
Look what the tide brought him. I want to call you a teapot, but I'm honestly kind of impressed. No idea where you got all that gear, but there's no doubt in my mind that some bad people are looking for it. Also, you look like a fucking idiot.
Whatever this is, it is completely unimportant compared to what you've just seen. This is the man with sunglasses from the Whirling in Rags. But where are his sunglasses?
That's right. And you're some kind of murder machine. We're not forgetting about anything. Look at you.
Hello, I'm Trent Heilerstein. I believe we've met on several occasions.
I'm your goddamn partner, Jean Vicomar, and this is your special task force. Or what's left of it. Special Consultant Trent Heidelstein, Patrol Officer Judith Minot.
Hi.
We've come to scrape what's left of you off the pavement.
Lieutenant Kim Kisuragi, Prison 57. We've just come from the island, where our investigation led us.
The scene is making even him feel as though he has to justify your actions.
We might need your help with something later.
As if he recalled that he's in fact a decorated police lieutenant and not a naughty boy.
But this is clearly a departmental matter, so I'm going to leave you to discuss it among yourselves.
It's good to meet you, Lieutenant Kitsuhagi.
Letting the lieutenant know he shouldn't feel embarrassed over the shitstorm that's about to befall you.
Oh, really? They don't seem bothered by it? That's because you're a cop in an exoskeleton. Yes, that has always explained it.
This is not the first time he's seen you all decked out in Waka.
Vic, calm down. Ari, we want to help you. Trent, I believe this is where you come in?
I don't quite know what I'm doing here. I was asked to participate as an expert. I think I need to manage your expectations a little. I'm at best an enthusiast in cognitive science. My background is in something else entirely. I engage in neurology on a merely theoretical level. In fact, I should probably get going.
No, Trent, it's too late. You're part of this shit now. What have you got to say for yourself, shit kid?
What does he have to say for himself? He left you to catch the bullets. Shit, kid. What an interesting moniker.
You. Shit kid, that's you.
Maybe you've deserved it.
The cafeteria manager you fucked over told us where you went. Strange. He didn't mention that. In fact, the establishment didn't look saved at all. There was a giant aerograffito in front of the building, mixed with blood. I don't know. It had shit kid written all over it. Guilty as charged. I heard you'd lost your mind and your memory. I wanted to see if it was true. And it was. Good work, Harry. You're insane now. There's one less person for me and everyone else to rely on.
He was too sarcastic for you to realize who he was.
Did you? Or did you literally not recognize my face? We've been partners for how long, Harry? Don't answer that. You don't remember.
Absolutely no idea. 100 years?
Lieutenant, my name is not Horse-Faced Woman. It's Judith Minot. I was assigned to your unit 2 months ago. I thought we were friends. Okay. Because you're my commanding officer, I really want to respect you. I want us to have a normal relationship.
That will never happen, Jude. He's the rudest man on earth. He's the reason why the rest of us have to take sensitivity training. And I hate sensitivity training.
Yes, I'm Tran Heilstein. I never said I wasn't Tran Heilstein. Mikhail? Mikhail is my son. No, I was just interested in the Feld building and the Martinez beachhead. And Mikhail wanted to see Martinez. It was a coincidence. What indeed? I was asked to share my take on some of the more obscure theories developed in Königstein in the 30s, like partial psychotraumatic amnesia, group personality theory.
He's here to see if you're insane. He's smart. Let's move on. Duped? Hey, here's a brilliant idea. Don't be a morbid drunk and you won't be duped so easily.
Yes, I'm still Kinki Solagi, still a lieutenant from Precinct 57.
Still caught up in this crossfire, too.
Yeah, Major Crimes Unit, under Lieutenant Dubois and Vicomar. Ring any bells? Refresh your memory? It's a goddamn Major Crimes Unit. There's you, me, Jude, Tron fucking Heidelstein, and Guillaume Baby.
I'm technically just a civilian advisor.
Oh, fuck you. You're part of this shit show. Oh, that's an interesting story, actually. Guillaume Bevy is a police reporter who joined our team. He was really good. Then he left because he lost faith in your ability to lead the unit. Other people have left too. Good, smart people. People we won't get back. Only me and this really patient patrol officer are still here. And Tron because I'm forcing him to stay.
Is this Guillaume Bevy blonde and partial to sunglasses?
See? There. He's getting it. I was impersonating him. Look at me, I'm G. Bevy. It was going to be funny, but then you really did have brain damage. So not so much anymore. Do? It's a Major Crimes Unit. We cleared the desk of cases so Precinct 41 doesn't look like the worst station in town. We are shit tier now, Harry. Because of you.
The 41st isn't...
God damn it, Harry. You told us to fuck off. You said we're cramping your style. Your detective god. Fuck everything. All will burn. Detect or die.
It wasn't like that.
Fuck you, Harry. We didn't know there was gonna be a tribunal, did we? Oh, you think it was cool you saying that? Aesthetic somehow? You were crying when we got here. Breaking things. You said we were going into the abyss. None of us wanted to see the abyss. So we fucked off. Like you told us to. The bells aren't ringing because you have brain damage. Trant, this is where you come in. How bad is it?
Well, he doesn't have visible tremors, he talks without slurring, he can drive a boat, he's standing, reasoning. All good signs, but complete retrograde amnesia, episodic and semantic.
Meaning, you forgot both who you are and the definitions of money, e-solar, pound, and so on.
As displayed in the station call, our interactions with him, and I don't want to be a snitch, but also mine with him before when Harry did not seem to know who I was. It's all very interesting.
Interesting?
Yes, interesting. I have my theories, but I would like to hear Harry's thoughts first. Harry, what do you think happened to you? Neurologically, psychologically, and why not socioeconomically?
He is. He's getting better. And I can confirm that he drank a lot of alcohol prior to it happening.
I believe he drank. People do that, especially this one. What they don't do is forget their whole life because of drinking.
But Detective Vigmer, he has blanked out before. Yes, a couple of times. After some of the more serious benders. One was after the two drunks case, the other when we looked into that mural.
So you don't remember not remembering. Beautiful.
Interesting. So at first he dipped his toes into it, prepared. That's where he would have gotten the idea, yes. Practice. And then he used alcohol to get there, so to speak.
What do you mean?
Well, here's my theory. What if this is an absolutely normal reaction to the world we're living in? What if this is not a significant anomaly at all? Something to be explained, approached as a defect? Look at the sensory input here. Look at the ruins, the neon. Listen to the radio, the multitudes, the people. Live here for 40 years. As a police detective, he's like a magnetic reader on the world team, to borrow a known metaphor. Harry's been pushed flat against it. Total input. Hardwired to the free market. He just needed for it to end.
Okay, Trent, thank you. That's absolutely meaningless. I'm glad we brought you. Will he or will he not be able to work in the major crimes unit? Is he a cretin now? I want to know that.
He's not a cretin, and he is able to do work. If not in his previous leadership role, then as a line detective.
For now, I misphrased my question. It should have been, is he able to put his clothes on and use the body? Or do we need to get him on a disability pension? Now nothing. Now we're just going to stand here. No, now we discuss that. What the fuck did you do to a motor carriage? Why is it there, Harry? Ha ha ha. Ho ho ho. Tequila sunset. Jump the canal. So funny, Harry. Thank you for fucking me. Thank you for destroying 45,000 real of police property that's coming out of my payslip. You know that, right? You're gonna get fired, and I'm gonna pay till I die. It doesn't matter. Your badge, Harry. Show me your badge.
He squints at it, suspiciously, trying to ascertain if it's not a blue candy wrapper or a piece of vine.
Okay, and your gun?
What is it with all these material objects?
Ah, he has it. I thought it was in the ocean. You're drunk like a bum, Harry. Put that thing away before you kill someone. I don't buy it. Why do you smell like a corpse then, huh?
He's wounded. It's been a long week, and he's handled an actual corpse.
What you've discovered? You let the suspect escape, a certain Clasier, because you were too drunk to assess a flight risk.
We've read the reports, Sari. Lieutenant Kitsuhagi's. We know.
Ah, well, if she was specially trained, I'm not even gonna get into the other suspect, the one who shot herself in the head. Or the fact that you're Everclear's little peony now, doing I don't know what for him. That's small-time stuff. That's nothing. That's a humorous anecdote. Compared to the 6 people who were gunned down, the streets are literally red with blood, Harry. It was fucking mass murder.
He did everything he could. We did everything we could. The company hired and vetted mercenaries. Lieutenant Dubois got between them and the locals.
Here comes the cavalry.
He did so at considerable risk to his person. Remember, he was shot. We stopped an execution, not a negotiation. The loss of life was minimal compared to what it could have been. Detective, it's better if I do that.
It's so much better if he does this. 1,000,000 times better.
Thank you for the input, Lieutenant Kitsuragi. I didn't mean to suggest you didn't handle the situation.
He thinks of apologizing, but decides against it.
You've spent the week with him on this case. What is your take?
On the case?
On Lieutenant Geoffrey Dubois.
Well, the drinking, the gun losing, also losing the badge. That's all true. Although he has not been drinking on the job this week.
See?
1 week.
Then there's the boring cop issue. Despite all the obvious and almost grotesque mannerisms and sartorial choices, he still insists he isn't characteristic enough. It's just strange. especially in light of his political views. Detective Dubois is, as you may know, a true blue moralist, a man of the center, not prone to political outbursts, which is commendable, but also at odds with his behavior. And then there's the motor carriage in the sea, something I was not present for. But despite all this, he is a great detective, one of the best I have seen, in fact. He can talk human beings into telling him everything, and he doesn't stop. In all the time I've spent with him, he has not once stopped pursuing leads, however far-fetched and tangential. He is tireless, madly driven. Well, except that one time when he stopped to sing karaoke, which, by the way, I have to disagree with you, Mr. Vicmar, was a valiant effort. He really sang his heart out.
Okay, he did something.
Other than that one time, he has tirelessly worked on the case, and he solved it. We have a confession, a murder weapon, and the perpetrator, locked on the island right now, awaiting transportation. He apprehended a straggler who stayed hidden for 50 years, ever since the revolution, who's probably committed other murders over those years. Oh, and he also discovered a new species.
A new species?
A colossal stick insect. It was on the island, camouflaged as the reeds. It unfolded from the reeds. I think we may be dealing with the Insulindian phasmid.
He takes out the photo and shows it to the officers across the yard. Thick white snow falls all around you. Flakes stick to the glossy photo of the phasmid. You hear gasps beneath the howling of the wind.
As you can see, it's about 3 meters tall. In fact, we think it may be the largest land invertebrate ever discovered.
Fucking hell is that? Is this somehow connected to the case?
The killer did not seem to be aware of the phasmid's presence. Exhibiting a strange, atypical dementia, he fell into a stupor after its appearance. He became near catatonic. Yes, but also...
So it is connected.
I must say, this is absolutely extraordinary. I don't even have words for it.
Yes. It really does make it hard to fire the drunk.
This is a very, very sad man who has just seen something that's made him forget his sadness. Now you make your case. Now is the time. Now or never.
Yes. Fallen through a gap in a boardwalk. Drunk.
The body was transported to Precinct 41, our morgue. I had Tilbrook and Mullins take care of funeral arrangements and family stuff.
You're not the only cop in the world, Harry. This all comes back to us.
Still, good work with the missing person, Detective.
It's still a point for you. No denying it.
Lilianovich. A revolutionary matronym. The custom started in Grad, where they have patronyms. Krasovich, Lasovich, etc. The revolutionaries saw this as a chauvinist atavism, so they used matronyms, derived from the mother's name instead. This man's mother was Lilian. His Lilian's son, Lilianovich. The custom was overturned after the revolution failed. but not before it made it to Revachol.
So, it is what a soldier of the ICM would be called.
Thank you, Trant. Thank you for that piece of cultural theory. You said you have a motive?
Of course, excuse me, I just thought it was noteworthy.
He wasn't quite sure about the straggler before he heard this detail. It must have convinced him.
Jealousy? I thought this Lilianovich was an old man. To have been hiding for 50 years. Like 70-something.
A strange psychosexual fascination. The result of spending all this time in solitude on the islands of this bay. And trauma, too. He himself gave a political reason. In his mind, he had killed an enemy combatant. Also, we have ballistics from the gun, matching the bullet found in the dead mercenary's head, and 2 officers on the scene that Mr. Dross confessed to.
It's a clean win.
Oh, it's way more than that.
Perfect folding mechanism. Get over yourself, Harry. I can still smell the booze on the wind.
God damn it. Doesn't it ever leave? It is there, like in your bones or something. It will pass in time.
Female? What makes you think so?
You had to see it. It had the subdued colors of a female. And the nesting behavior too, I think.
Incredible. Were there eggs in the nest?
Not as far as I could see. There were other things there, though.
Actually, you know, this would indicate it was a male. This is far from anything in my field, but I think such nests are called bowers. They are from...
Bowers are built by males of the species who can't afford colorful mating displays physically. This one was plain colored.
Of course, as I said, I'm only guessing. I didn't see it. It must be robust if it can move a whole helmet with its limbs.
It could maybe roll it, like a dung beetle.
As in cloning itself? What makes you think so? Then it wouldn't matter if it's male or female. The bower would just be rudimentary behavior from before the parthenogenetic mutation.
That makes sense, yes.
Very interesting. Such organisms are extremely vulnerable to disease. A single strain of bacteria could wipe out the whole species. We're probably looking at conservation efforts here.
In his mind, he's already planning a nature reserve and knows a good guy for that.
Yes, but also reed-colored, beige and brown, a little green on the outside. After unfolding from a single stalk, it still retained parts that looked like reed tufts on its limbs.
Incredible. The PR value of this is exceptional. Carp discovers new species. Maybe even discovers the Insulindian phasmid. No, that's too much.
This would really help with some of the problems we've been having.
Absolutely, this is great. This does not say vigilante murderers to me at all. This says science, news, human interest. You know, it's a really good thing you have that photo.
Without it,
You're doing good here. Perhaps only for a moment, but still. Quit while you're ahead, or no?
I don't know what a doomed commercial area is. I'm 100% sure it didn't turn out to be that. You know, cut the amateur and drop anything 2mm hole shit. This isn't Paradox B. We're
Paradox B is a fringe science magazine published in Grad. Its mission is to explain theories like telekinesis and intra-esoleri. How? If it doesn't look like the lieutenant wishes you to push this angle, cut it out, is indeed what he is thinking.
I don't know what a doomed commercial area. Why? That's not what you were supposed to do here.
There was a fridge we needed and a possible witness. He was just chasing a lead and ended up advising a local shopkeeper. It was okay.
Of course. Call it community outreach, right?
Dodged the bullet there. For a moment it seemed like you were just wasting time.
What was that? It sounded like you set up a nightclub in the church. That's great. Entrepreneurship is a great new career for you. After police officer. I don't care. Go live in the Pale.
4 kids were living in a tent on the ice. They were going to drown when it melted. It's not optimal, but the building was abandoned, so he put them in there. It's okay.
It's not that okay. Get off this subject now.
I don't want to, but you discovered a new species and solved the murder. So I have to. Jude?
Anything that ends the trial is okay with me.
Agreed. The public relations potential of this is too valuable to let go.
Okay. We have vehicles in the square, and the perpetrator needs to be taken into custody. Let's go.
The man looks westward, impatiently, jingling his car keys in his pocket.
Who are you? You're a gym teacher, Harry. Well, obviously you're not a gym teacher anymore, but...
Before you were a cop, you were a gym teacher in Coron. It's getting really cold outside. Should we maybe...
Harry, it explains everything. The running around, the jumping, the shot put, your inexplicable facial hair. Your moves on the church floor, which honestly were just jump aerobics. Your use of the word graffito.
Also, this guy. Just everything about this guy. And this guy, too. God, even this javelin-throwing freak here.
In your 20s or late 20s, you've really let yourself go since then. Yes, you taught gym in Cool. I believe that's the term. Taught gym at a high school. You were a high school gym teacher.
The smell of sweat and glue. The worn floorboards. Coudon is just east of Jamrock. It was a short walk every morning to the baseball field or the sports building.
High school. Harry, your goings-on with Kuno, Andre, Assel, the whole thing on the ice. That's why you are so juvie.
The regular. You found some chick. She inspired you to fight the big fight. Be more than you are. All that.
You, every morning, walking from Voyager Road to teach gym. She, leaving for the academy with her spring coat on. The air filled with the smell of smoke and raspberries and incredible hope. An ocean full of hope.
I knew it. I knew no normal human being can run like that. He's an honest-to-God gym teacher.
It's not a mystery. Some chick fucked you over. Also, you were drunk.
You really went with it too. Really maximized the damage.
Dora something. Dora England. Yeah, you mentioned the name.
Not Dora Dubois.
No one is married anymore. This is Revachol. God, I don't know. 6 years ago, she was way before my time.
6 years and you haven't gotten over it. What the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah, or 7. You're not doing too good there. It's an old man thing. 2 old years equals 1 normal year. That and Dora England really tore you a new one. A big one. Incredibly bangable. She was incredibly fuckable. A beautiful bourgeois woman. Wayfish. Like a Welkin, basically.
Snow Welkin. Blonde Welkin. Pain Welkin.
I've only seen a picture, but it's obvious you formed a real spiritual connection with how pretty she was. One you never recuperated from.
Look, the sun is about to go down. It's time to go.
I think she taught in the Académie des Arts, east of the river. Way east. Hard to say which came first, the middle-class chick or the drink. Egg and the chicken kind of thing. My point is, you need to see a psychiatrist about this shit. Not a psychologist. Several degrees harder. Is there something harder than a psychiatrist? A forensic psychiatrist? Go talk to that.
In other words, he's heard enough about this.
No. You're too unstable to work for a mob boss. You're suicidal, Harry. No mob boss would take you.
I assure you, I wouldn't consult for a corrupt unit.
He would immediately backpedal out of it. I told you it's not that bad.
Us? We're the bloody murder station, haven't you heard? We're the bad guys. No one likes us.
That's not true. Jamrock is too big for one precinct. You're just understaffed. And everyone respects the 41st. You have Captain Price.
Thank you, Lieutenant. You're being kind. It is an understaffed station and the district is too big, which is why we need to...
Get back to it. We left Torsen and McLean to run the Sea Wing. It's not good. Mac the Torso Torsen and Chester McLean. They're not fit to run a wing. Believe me. Things are shaky as it is.
They are damn iconic though, Torsen and McLean.
Yeah, not like us. Two clinically depressed old men. Where's the contrast here? We are garbage. God. There are 4 wings, Harry. A, B, C, and D. We're in C. It's made of losers and clock punchers. You and I reconceptualized it as a task force. It was a mistake.
There's also a lot of outside help involved, not only me. Other losers too.
Ptolemy Price? He's the son of the old Price, one of the founders of the RCM.
He's one of the most highly regarded men in the Force. You're lucky.
Somewhere under the curved roof of a former silk factory, shaped like a ladybird with 2 chimneys, Police Captain Ptolemy Price sits behind a heavy wooden desk. Resident medic Nix Gottlieb pours him coffee. It's silent in the captain's office. They speak of change, the city, the tension on the streets. They speak of the events of April and the blood on the streets in May.
So he remembers that. Yes, there may have been a raid on some churches. It wasn't good press.
Shooting up churches never is. I was out of town, to be clear.
Our enemies were hiding in a church, to the best of our information. That's it. I'm not talking about this anymore. Your security clearance is shit tier right now. You have to wait for it to go up.
He means it. The RCM and its enemies will not be discussed on this coast. Your clearance will not go up while you're within earshot of the Union headquarters.
Okay, it's not the bloody murder station. It's an old converted silk mill with green desk lamps and a coffee corner. A lot of good people work there, hard, every day.
Jamrock is the largest ghetto in Rivershoal. Faubourg, technically, but it's divided into 11 districts. Jamrock only has us.
The press will blow over. Jamrock is lucky to have you, and it's often considered to be the greatest of the districts. You're lucky to have it.
Thank you again, Lieutenant. Who is Lena?
She lives at 1113 Tabernacle Road in Jamrock, remember?
Tabernacle? It's on the way over. Near where you live on Perdition.
Fine, if we're gonna drop you off anyway.
She and her husband were conducting the search for the Phasmid. It's their discovery, in part. They should know as soon as possible. It would do you good to deliver some positive news for a change. Well, first I will go back to my station and write the most detailed report anyone has ever seen. It will have to be good to cover all these. Then I will have a serious talk with my captain. Detective, we just stopped a small-scale war. Something is happening to Revachol. I don't know what yet, but it's going to be a hard spring for the RCM. We need to get ready, infiltrate, investigate. Talk to Captain Price? I'd rather not ruffle the feathers of two captains with my doom-mongering. Work with Price? I'm flattered, but I don't know if I...
Would fit in, and crazy enough, can take the stress. He doesn't know how to finish the sentence. This truly came as a surprise to him. Not a bad one, but he's at a loss.
Flattered? You're Lieutenant Kitsuragi. We would be flattered if you even considered.
I would have to tie things up in GRIH first. But, I mean, whatever is coming, Jamrock will be more central to it than the harbor.
And we also have a huge caseload, Lieutenant. Piles that we need to get back to. Mountains, even.
I do like the sound of that.
He's really considering it.
Good.
Fuck it, let's go. Tron brought his motor carriage. It's a 20-minute drive to Jamrock.
Under the afternoon sky, the great district hums. A chessboard of wooden houses, 80,000 living souls, and chimney stacks. Fire traps as far as the eye can see. From Main Street to Precinct 41, to Boogie Street, forking into the snow-swept horizon. You close your eyes and hear the dogs bark. A lone woman sits by a factory window, dreaming of meteorite strikes. On Rue de Saint-Jérôme, a square bullet slides into a square-shaped chamber. In Old South, a man without eyelids smiles. Spring has come. It's time. Torsen? Yes. McLean? Yes. Heidelstein? No. Vicmair? Yes. Dubois? Of course. Really? Nix Gottlieb looks up from the list. I hear he's unstable. You say that like it's a bad thing. Captain Potomny Price gestures with a ballpoint pen. It's dim in the office, and the curtains are drawn. Harry's our man. He'll pull through. When he does, he'll side with the RCM. Understood. Gottlieb returns to the list. Minot? Of course.
Wonderful. Then can we please just go back to Jamrock now?
you